Just like our touch with Coca-Cola in terms of taste and experience, which differs nowadays in comparison to its early days, the authenticity of opera has eroded over time. These singers underwent rigorous training so as to develop the ability to project their voices, without any need for microphones, across large halls to thrill audiences in a play of theatrical and musical expression. So today, we're going to swiftly approach the Verdian tragedy of La Traviata performed by two icons of the world of opera. We'll start by listening to an aria performed by Maria Callas. Then we're going to move on to explore her artistry through the lens of Giacomo Lauri-Volpi, a monumental tenor from the golden age of opera. And finally, we'll finish by listening to a rendition of the same aria by Claudia Muzio, a soprano from his time whom he greatly admired.
Celeste la promessa, la disfida ebbe luogo. Il barone fu ferito, però migliora. Alfredo in stranio suolo. Il vostro sacrificio io stesso gli ho svelato. Egli a voi tornerà per suo perdono. Io pur verrò. Curatevi. Meritate un avvenire migliore. Giorgio Germo. È tardi. Attendo, attendo, né mi giungo mai. Come son mutata,
Maria Callas. The name alone conjures images of operatic drama, vocal daring, and artistic resurrection. She was one of the most influential sopranos of the 20th century and one of the most polarizing. Among her most thoughtful and exacting critics was the legendary Italian tenor and author Giacomo Lauri-Volpi, who saw in her genius beyond beauty. In his remarkable book, Voci Parallel, Lauri-Volpi, himself a titan of the Golden Age, offered not only high praise but also critical analysis of Callas's artistry. We'll explore his complex, often contradictory reflections on La Divina. Lauri-Volpi did not approach Maria Callas with fanfare or celebrity awe. Instead, he approached her as he did all singers, with a sharp ear, a deep knowledge of vocal technique, and a passion for musical truth. He wrote, "Callas is not always beautiful in tone, but she is always guided by the music. A musical mind of extraordinary genius, often greater than her vocal mates." Right away, he separates vocal aesthetics from musical intelligence and makes it clear that Callas's artistry lay not in pure sound, but in something deeper. Lauri-Volpi was a traditionalist, trained in the art of bel canto, where line, breath, and vowel purity were sacred. He observed that Callas's voice was unusual, dark and wide in the middle, vulnerable at the top, yet capable of incredible effects, glorious high pianissimos, fierce chest tones, and, most of all, malleability. He noted, "She could evoke ice or fire, innocence or damnation with color alone." And yet, he did not shy from criticism. He pointed to her technical inconsistencies, occasional pitch insecurity, vocal breaks, and a tendency to overpress in the upper register. Still, he emphasized, she knows what she is doing. Even her defects are chosen in service of the drama. Perhaps Lauri-Volpi's greatest admiration came from Callas's interpretive depth. He praised her ability to revive the forgotten works of Bellini, Donizetti, and early Verdi, bringing them to modern audiences with dignity, fire, and emotional specificity. He underlined, "She does not sing notes. She sings characters, histories, passions." He saw in her a kind of musical dramaturge, a singer who used her flaws as expressive tools, not limitations. Where others offered polished arias, Callas presented living, breathing souls. Despite his admiration, Lauri-Volpi remained conflicted. He believed that Callas sometimes broke with tradition too boldly, reinventing phrasing or distorting line for theatrical effect. Still, he did not accuse her of vulgarity or ignorance. Quite the opposite, he saw her as someone who knew the rules deeply enough to break them meaningfully. He often contrasted her with other sopranos who sang correctly, but without soul. To him, Callas aired brilliantly, while others succeeded blandly. In one of his most telling comparisons, Lauri-Volpi placed Callas alongside Claudia Muzio, the soul singer of the earlier generation. Both, he felt, sang with their hearts and minds, rather than just their throats. Yet, he made a distinction. Muzio's tone was spiritual, mournful, and Italian, while Callas's was intellectual, restless, and Greek. Both were tragedians. But where Muzio whispered sorrow, Callas spoke it aloud, even when it shook her voice. Ultimately, Giacomo Lauri-Volpi considered Maria Callas a once-in-a-century artist. Not because she had the most beautiful sound, not because she followed every rule, but because she forced opera to matter again emotionally, theatrically, and musically. She was not always beautiful, he wrote, but she was always alive, always music. In the voice of Maria Callas, Giacomo Lauri-Volpi heard both imperfection and immortality. And from one great singer to another, he left a testament, not just of criticism, but of awe. For in Callas, even her flaws were shaped by genius. Indeed, Maria Callas was to him a musical mind of extraordinary genius, often greater than her vocal mates. She was technically capable of incredible vocal effects, from chesty dramatic outbursts to ethereal high notes. What Callas lacked in sheer vocal ease, Lauri-Volpi believed she compensated with formidable dramatic insight. She revived forgotten bel canto works with theatrical and stylistic command that few dared attempt. He acknowledged that she often took interpretive liberties, but in service of musical truth rather than vanity. Unlike singers who simply had beautiful sounds, Callas was, for Lauri-Volpi, an interpreter of psychological and poetic depth. He admired her ability to shape phrases with meaning, even when her voice faltered technically. He compared her at times to Muzio, to whom we're going to listen next, in terms of spiritual intelligence, though he found Muzio's tone more naturally Italian and emotionally organic.
teneste la promessa, la disfida ebbe luogo, il barone fu ferito, però migliora. Al freddo in stranio suolo, il vostro sacrificio io stesso gli ho svelato. Egli a voi tornerà pel suo perdono, io pur verrò. Curatevi, mertate un avvenir migliore. Giorgio Germano, è tardi. Attendo, non mi giungon mai. Come son mutata, noi dottore, a sperar pur mesurta. Quanto il marbe, ogni sperante morte. Addio del passato, bei sogni ridente. Le rose del volto già sono parlanti.
To Giacomo Lauri-Volpi, Claudia Muzio was the soul of music made voice. Lauri-Volpi revered Muzio as the epitome of lyric tragedy. He described her voice as not large, but deeply expressive, with a silvery yet mournful tone that made her ideal for roles like Violetta, Desdemona, and Tosca. She sang with a floating legato, flawless breath control, and a pianissimo that seemed carved from silence. He emphasized that Muzio did not act with gestures but with voice. Her emotional communication was so refined that she could move audiences profoundly with just vocal color. He described her singing as music filtered through human pain, never sentimental, but heartbreakingly real. Lauri-Volpi considered her among the greatest tragedians in operatic history. Her legacy, in his view, wasn't in vocal size or technical flash, but in artistic authenticity. He thought she was unique, with no imitators capable of capturing her spiritual intensity.